If you're a young man, it's very important in election season, who's looking to impress ladies, to be the alpha, to be attractive, the best thing you can do is to wear your Trump support on your sleeve. Show that you are a real man. Show that you are not a beta, right?
This week on Fox, Trump advisor Stephen Miller made his pitch to young male voters. Vote for Trump or else you are a beta, which is maybe the most beta way ever of pronouncing the word beta. A beta. The fixation on being an alpha extends well beyond Stephen Miller. It is the Trump campaign's entire ballgame as it tries to win over the so-called bro vote. With 26 days to go before Election Day, Trump's strategy here is to turn out young men by engaging with the content creators they apparently pay attention to. That means interviewing with podcasters like the Nelk Boys, seen here smashing a television screen featuring Kamala Harris at the debate. But it isn't just all outrage content. The Nelk Boys are also going to work on behalf of Donald Trump by mounting a multi-million-dollar voter registration push at music festivals, on dating apps, and on popular bro-friendly podcasts. And tonight, we learned that the Harris campaign is also trying to explore the far reaches of the Manovers. Tomorrow, Governor Tim Walz will assume the role of coach once again and deliver a pregame pep talk to the Mankato West high school football team. That's his former squad. The next day, Walz will go pheasant hunting with a group of influencers, including a veterans advocate and a black rodeo star. This is the world we live in now. Joining me now is Michelle Goldberg, opinion columnist for the New York Times. Michelle, so I understand that Kamala Harris, by virtue of being Kamala Harris, is in a more compromised position to assuage male egos and say they don't have to worry about, you know, being replaced by women by virtue of the fact that she's trying to be the first female president, right? What do you make of this kind of Walz v. Trump and Vance battle for masculinity?
Well, I mean, part of it's been clear for a while that there's this enormous gender gap that Trump speaks to a demographic of men who feel resentful, they feel left behind. You know, young men are doing worse than young women by a lot of different metrics in terms of education and jobs and things like that, or at least elite in certain elite fields. And so I think that what's happening is that women, not all women, but women broadly detest Donald Trump. And so he has to make up for those votes somewhere, right? He doesn't want to moderate. I don't think he knows how to. And so what the Trump campaign has been trying to do is to sort of remake the electorate, right? They have these plans to go after irregular, infrequent voters, to kind of disdain traditional canvassing operation and instead in favor of what they call vote chasing. And this is all an effort to do that. And so it's smart for the Harris campaign, if they can, to cut into those margins somewhat. What I think is telling is that you don't see the reverse. You don't see any efforts among Trump or Vance to try to reach out to traditionally female audiences.
Women.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, their strategy to reach out to the bros is so hyper masculine and so dismissive of equality that they may be actually actively alienating women in the process of this outreach. I was struck by President Obama's remarks around strength and masculinity. He made them just a few minutes ago at his event in Pennsylvania. For people who missed it, let's just take a listen.
I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior, the bullying and the putting people down, is a sign of strength. And I am here to tell you that is not what real strength is. It never has been. Real strength is about working hard and carrying a heavy load without complaining. Real strength is about taking responsibility for your actions and telling the truth even when it's inconvenient. Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't always stand up for themselves.
It's like the most obvious sort of moral advice, and yet it's so overdue and so infrequent that we hear someone say, like, this isn't actually what being a man is about. And I thought it was so important for him to make those remarks. And I actually thought, like, instead of sort of playing footsie with the idea of this kind of like comical version of 21st century masculinity, maybe we need more of that. And that could as easily have been said by Kamala Harris as Tim Walz as any other person that's a surrogate for the campaign.
No, and I think taking it on directly, because Donald Trump has been such a malign influence on masculinity in this country. And although I wouldn't attribute all the estrangement between young men and young women that is, kind of causing so much social enemy, I think at least part of it stems from the Trump presidency, from the example he set, from the intense backlash that he created, right? It's like you don't have someone like that at the top without creating corrosion throughout the society.
There is we should also be careful about saying that this is a strategy that doesn't appeal to some subsection of women, right? Because Trump has won white women, and he is still doing well with white women in the year 2024 as he pursues the strategy. This is what Trump said today in Detroit about his appeal towards women.
They said that women don't like me. I think women love me because they want to be safe. And with me, they're safe. With other people, they're not safe. It's true.
Okay. What do you think of that?
Well, look, I think that there's always been women have always been leading figures in the religious right. They've always been leading figures in the anti-feminist movement. I mean, the anti-feminist movement provided lots of career opportunities and opportunities for a public career to women like Phyllis Schlafly and her descendants. And so I think, look, there's always been women who found security in traditional gender roles and who are willing to take the trade of, kind of safety and veneration in exchange for freedom and autonomy. But we see again and again that that's not a deal that most women want to take. And I think especially in the crude and smarmy and vaguely threatening way that Trump offers it, I cannot imagine that it's going to win over anyone who is on the fence.
Right. It's one thing if Trump is talking about safety in communities, no matter where that, how inaccurate his data may be. It's another when his surrogates are out there with a sledgehammer, taking that sledgehammer to the screen of a woman who has earned her place at the top of the Democratic ticket, right? Even as a woman who may not like the Democratic value, the values on the Democratic ticket, seeing someone deface the image of a woman like that.
Right, or seeing the Trump voter who bought the Taylor Swift guitar just so that he could smash it up. I mean, it's this infantile, petulant kind of masculinity.
And that infantile, petulant masculinity is what Donald Trump is betting on to win him this election at the polls. It is a risky bet. And what it does to a society in the meantime is anyone's guess. Michelle Goldberg, it's great to see you. Thank you for your time tonight.